Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Sports Card Madness. This is LZ. I'm here with Nick. Today is an emergency episode. Panini just crushed Fanatics in a recent court ruling, and we are here to talk about it. Before we get into it, I'm going to read you, according to Sports Business Journal. U.S. District Court of the Southern District of New York supports Panini's claim that Fanatics conspired to control the trading card market in violation of antitrust laws. Wow.
Wow.
Wow, Nick.
I didn't see this coming. I heard whispers from people that like this wasn't going Fanatics' way. I never thought that this would happen. And the Fanatics response here, it seems very flaccid. It's like they're just kind of like Panini is just using this. I'll quote it. Panini's just
Yeah.
using this lawsuit as a tool to deflect from its own failings in a desperate attempt to slow down Fanatics. The
Mm-hmm.
facts will show that Panini has lost touch with its consumers and continues to be unwilling and unable to keep pace with what collectors in the hobby want. What does that have to do with anything? It's like,
Well,
what?
it really doesn't have to do with much, but this is what happens when these rulings come out, Nick. You're gonna get the spokesman, you're gonna get public relations that are gonna start talking and trying to put everybody's brain into a pretzel and
Yeah.
distract from the real the real news. And that's kind of what's going on. Every company does that, right?
So I just
Yeah.
spoke to an antitrust expert, I would say about an
Mm.
hour ago.
Okay.
Totally. I'm not, he's going to be anonymous, but he's been practicing antitrust. I'm going to say stuff to keep it really anonymous,
Okay.
for like 2 decades
Hmm.
plus. And he's told me all along, his
Mm.
thoughts on Fanatics were that they have a monopoly or an unfair advantage in one place, and that one place affects another market, similar to
Mm.
Microsoft, right? So their monopoly in one place could affect another market back in the day. And, he's kind of thought all along that there's some antitrust problems here. And I've said many times the Fanatics
Yeah.
should have people in Washington.
Yeah. Well, you've
But,
been talking to this guy in particular for, let's call it, 6 months, right? And
yeah.
you and him have been chatting about this behind the scenes for a while now.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
wild. So
Hmm.
we talked about it more tonight, and we started to
Hmm.
think about the damages. All right, so
Hmm.
damages, what is this going to
Hmm.
cost Fanatics? So just a quick reminder, Fanatics is an $8-ish billion holding company, and under that, there's three children. One is expensive and crappy. That's the gambling one, 300 million, 1.3 for sports cards.
Hmm.
It's collectibles one, and then we got merch, which is like, seven or something like
The
that.
big one. Yeah. Hmm.
Now, the I did some rough estimates because I've
Hmm.
I've dealt with M&A before and I've dealt with antitrust before as well, and I bounced it off of him. And we thought that the first thing that happens when it comes to damages, you just always triple them. Okay, that's just what you do. And so we came up with a number right around $1 billion, and you triple that. So I think this could
Boy.
potentially cost Fanatics $3 billion. This is
Oh.
just my thoughts. I don't have any
Sure.
information,
No. Mm-mm.
but this is mega, like
Yeah.
mega.
Yeah. Let's go back to your kind of monopoly point. Like you have a monopoly in one area and it kind of bleeds over to another. So I'm going to quote another couple sections of this article.
Mhm.
There was a conspiracy between the NFL Players Association and the Major League Baseball Players Association and Fanatics to license both Players Association intellectual property on the exclusive basis. So this article and that ruling specifically calls out the NFL, the MLB, and
Oh,
Fanatics. And then there's another piece in here too, just around like having the NFL, having MLB, having the NBA, having like all of these brands or these leagues. The court noted starting in 2026, Fanatics will control 100% of the relevant market for a term of at least 10 years.
10 years. The licenses used to be 2 to 3 years.
100%.
Now they're 10 years. At that is such a drastic change. And it affects their
Mm.
ability in the clothing, it affects their ability in the other markets. It's wild, man. And here's the thing that scares me. They're using words like conspiracy, and there was enough to win a lawsuit here. And so I'm wondering, if this hits Discovery, holy moly, like what are these text messages going to look like? What are these
Uh,
emails going to look like? That's all going to come up. There's no chance this gets to Discovery. I
no, I don't
actually know
think
what's
it
going to
will.
happen.
Mm.
This ends with a violent acquisition of Panini by Fanatics, and it's going to cost them a hell of a lot more than it was going to cost them yesterday. That's my
Yeah.
prediction.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Um, what else can I say here? So there was a lawyer representing Panini, and I'll say what state what he said. We are gratified by the federal district court's decision, which upheld Panini's principal antitrust claims and state law claims against Fanatics, preserving meaningful competition in the global sports trading card business is critically important for fans, players, and collectors.
Yeah, dude. And you know what's
Yeah.
crazy? There's another quote too. I mean, we should probably just pop the article on here, but like,
Yeah.
it said, according to the decision, Panini now has antitrust standing to seek injunctive relief. That's nuts. So the injunctive relief,
Mm.
just to let everybody know, that's actually stopping something from happening. That's a simple way of putting it. So could you imagine if something had to shut down with sports cards
Hmm.
because there's an injunction as a result of this ruling?
Oh
That would be
boy.
insane. Like, nope,
Nick,
stop
can you
printing.
imagine how many repacks will be going on if everything gets shut down? Oh man.
It'll be, oh man,
Oh,
you laugh. You're right. We'll have Fanatics repacks.
that's it.
It'll be digital repacks. There'll be all these like previously slabbed things. They'll be, oh my God, they'll be like, what?
Oh, hold on to your junk wax, everybody. All these breakers are going to need it for repacks. Hold
Oh
on to
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Hold on. Sell high.
So
Wait it out.
injunctive relief could be like hobby altering, sports card
Mm.
altering if they pull that off. And they're going to try. I mean, this is all a dance, right?
Wow.
And now Panini's value, their cost just went much
Mhm.
higher. I don't know what their market cap is because they're such a weird little private company, but I'm going to guess it's like a quarter of Fanatics or something like that. Or the
Yeah,
other
it's
way you could estimate it was, Tops when Ruben bought it was 500 million.
500. Yeah.
Right, and collectibles right now is 1.3 billion.
Mm.
Do we think Panini's worth 1.3? I don't know. I would say probably a little bit less. So maybe
They're worth more than Tops because
right.
at the time, I mean, Tops has gotten big. Fanatics has done a great job lately, but
Yeah,
at the time, Panini was the top dog.
I'm gonna put Panini's valuation under a billion.
Yeah.
This is just
Mm.
me like throwing dart, like I'm just kind of napkin
Spitballing.
mathing it.
Mm.
But and then now if you get these damages, it's funny how I came to that billion, and now you triple that. I
Yeah.
think I think this
It's
acquisition
three.
cost 3 billion, and now we had that debt rating for one of the child companies of this holding company, and they don't have 3 billion in cash. They do not have that. And so it's either going to be a stock swap or they're going to have to go to the debt markets again to try to
Ooh.
finance this acquisition. And they have to do it because if this goes to court, I
It's
can't
gonna
I can
stop.
only imagine
Yeah.
what's going to be dragged.
Discovery. Oh boy.
Oh, it's like
Yeah.
horrifying. So
Mm.
I don't know. It's like stay tuned. This dropped like what did the article like 2 hours ago? This
Yeah,
came out.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
We saw it just a couple hours ago. Even in the article, like you stated, that they're going to have to acquire them. In the article, it says they referenced an expert. I forget exactly the guy's name, but basically the quote is, "This gives Panini a bit more leverage, but I continue to believe that at the end, Fanatics will have to acquire
I believe
Panini."
that as well, but that acquisition
Yeah.
sucks. They're trying to like help this
Mm.
gambling arm survive. They've already sunk $1 billion into it. They've got like 6.5 market share. Now you're
Mm.
telling me to keep their 20, 25% margin Collectibles, 1.3 billion floating. They got to drop 3 billion
Three
on
billion.
Panini.
3
I'm not.
billion. Oh
I,
boy.
I I don't know, and maybe it's not.
Oh
Maybe it's 500 times three. I
no,
don't
it
know.
could. Yeah, it could be one and a
Damn.
half.
It's going to cost them over $1 billion for
Mm.
sure. I'll like
Well,
bet my
it is a
children
bit
on
of a let's call it. It is a bit of a distressed asset now, right? I mean,
it.
they've lost all their licensing. They have what? They have WNBA. Do they have right? They don't have
Yeah,
much, and they have some international soccer.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I
but
mean,
yeah, it's not going to be
ugly.
cheap, Nick.
It's ugly. I think
And
this is
and to their point, I mean, they're just going to dig their feet in because they want it to go to Discovery. So they're going to be like, all right, pay me the 3 billion, or we're going to
And
Discovery.
this
We'll
comes
make this
down to
happen.
what is in Discovery. I am actually worried. I mean, I don't know. Maybe most of this was verbal. Maybe these deals
Hey,
are on the up and up, but who knows? I don't have any, whatever.
Nick, you know what's interesting too? When you were talking about Discovery, I was just solely focused on Discovery on the Fanatic side. Do you think Major League Baseball that got called out in this and NFLPA that got called out in this court ruling? Do you think they want to go to Discovery?
No, of course not.
What are
Well, it
they going to
depends.
do?
Yeah.
What sort of a pressure are they going to apply Fanatics to settle this thing?
A lot. And they may have their own statements. I imagine, what is it, Monday? By the end of the week, you're going to have some statements from these
Yeah,
players
from these players
associations.
associations.
I
Yeah.
just I hope it's all clean. That's all I got to say. I hope it's all
Mm.
clean for everybody because it'll be a disaster if it's not, like a disaster.
Yeah,
So
hopefully it
hopefully
is.
this is just like,
Yeah.
business boxing
Yeah, sure.
match.
Yeah, here's the
And
cell phone. Here are the emails. We're fine, right? And
yeah.
everything's good.
And then that's
Yeah.
great. And then they do
Yeah.
their dance and they acquire Panini and it's less messy and the hobby
Mm.
moves on.
Yeah.
We'll see. We shall see.
We shall see. Grab your popcorn, everybody.
Mm. All right.
All
That was a
right.
quick one.
That was
Thanks,
a quick
guys.
one. All right. Bye, everybody.